Okay, why wasn't there an episode yesterday? Simply put, load shedding. We were load shedded between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. The load shedding was supposed to be between 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. So that is my recording time, and I religiously stick to it. And can't do it afterwards because I'm busy working. And then couldn't do it last night because, got to be in the right mood. By the evening, I'm so tired. Don't you find by the evening you just want to lie down? So that's what happened. I must apologize Wednesday. I always think in the back of my mind, context. So many people on the radio, they leave out context and they just assume you know what I'm talking about, or they think you know what they're talking about. I was talking about the flag being at half-mast and my flag was going to be fully up, and then I never contextualized it in reference to F.W. de Klerk. President Ramaphosa wanted the flags at half-mast until Sunday night to commemorate, to pay respects to the late F.W. de Klerk, and I never said that. Very embarrassing. But you get guys, have you noticed that? You put on the radio, and they're carrying on. They're talking about something you have no idea what they're talking about. They just assume that you've been listening all the time. My favorite is, you'll put the radio on at 8:05 or 7:05. Sure, that was an interesting discussion earlier on before the news. That was a really interesting discussion. Yeah, it was. And then they just, don't know what they're talking about. So I'm guilty of that. Okay. So moving on. I'm thinking, what's on your mind? And I don't want to leave you hanging. I don't want to keep secrets. You might be thinking, obviously you're thinking, what's happened to Damon's kittens? How are Damon's kittens? I know, that's on your mind, obviously. It's not Afghanistan. It's not load shedding. How are Damon's cats? Well, not much to say. They're kittens, they're 8 weeks old. They're still in my daughter's bedroom. I opened the window now of my daughter's bedroom and they climbed onto the windowsill and they've checked things out. It's a process. These are not ordinary cats, I've just realized. They're not ordinary cats. Turns out their mother was one of those homeless cats. Those cats don't have a home. They use the word feral or wild. So they weren't domesticated. So these cats, it's taken a while. The one cat, Lily, she was on Alexa's bed eventually, and I played with her, and she actually wanted more. The other cat, Masha is wild. Masha, and she spits. Masha's Masha's a problem cat. I'm hoping things improve. The main thing is that Masha is good company for Lily. It's nice. Don't just get one cat. Get 2 cats. That's my advice for you. And there are so many. If you on social media, especially Twitter, there's 1 or 2 people that have always got kittens. Hey, I've got these kittens. The good news is that their mother, since the mother had them, apparently she's become more tame. And the guy that we got the kittens from, he's going to get hold of that cat and take the cat to the vet and get the cat sterilized. Hysterectomy. Yeah, look. There's nothing sexy about a hysterectomy scar. Nothing sexy about it. But you're a cat. The hair goes back. It's all covered. Nobody will know that you've had a hysterectomy. Until, some swarthy, some player, tomcat, also feral, will try his luck. Yes, it won't be pleasant. Me Too movement and all. Unfortunately, the Me Too movement has not moved into the cat community, the feline community. So you may feel like you're in prison in the showers. But at least you won't. This is very insensitive. At least you won't fall pregnant, and it's a good thing to do. If you know of cats in your area, if you can get hold of them, feral cats, get them sterilized. Obviously, the male cats as well. Get the snip. Get those testicles taken out. It's important. It's important. Heard something really. I heard something today. This morning, I was listening to the news bulletin at 7:00 on SAFM, and one of the stories was that the Deputy President David Mabuza. The story was he just said, yes, South Africa needs 3 to 4 more additional power stations. And that was the story. It just ended there. And then I read up on it closer, and the context, more of the context was that the CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter, I think he appeared before one of the portfolio committees, or he appeared somewhere, and he then got the support of David Mabuza saying we need more power stations. But this is where SAFM or the news people, I don't think just reporting on the news should be their job alone. How about digging deeper and asking questions, and getting a reaction and doing a bit of investigation? What is the most obvious spin-off or investigation that's going to come from this statement? We're going to build 3 to 4 new power stations. Think about it. Okay, I'll tell you. Just had this conference on climate change in Glasgow, in Scotland. Glasgow. Is it Glasgow? I'm going to go with Glasgow. Scotland. And there was, for 2 weeks, it was one of the main stories coming out, talking about alternative energies, talking about alternative to coal, talking about lowering CO2 emissions for the next couple of decades. And the conference was quite disheartening, where they came to an agreement that they're not going to get rid of CO2 emissions completely. They're just going to slow it down. Ooh, slow it down. So instead of coal, it's cool. Huh? Yeah, but that's not the issue. The thing is, so straight to my mind, the question should be asked, if you're a journalist, should get hold of David Mabuza, should get hold of Andre de Ruyter. Hello, where have you been? You're talking about a new 3 or 4 new power stations. Are you saying they're going to be coal power stations? Hello, can we be a little bit more up with it, like more with the times? We've just had this conference in Glasgow. Are you not looking at solar energy, wind energy with the turbines? Is building 3 or 4 new coal power stations, is that the right way to go? Isn't that a mistake? Other energy sources, hydroelectric sources of energy, is that possible? Do something at the Victoria Falls. Do some deal with Zimbabwe. Do something at the Victoria Falls. Come up with some plan. I'm just thinking, trying to come up with something different. So the story should not just be 3 or 4 new power stations, and then that's it. There seems to be a disconnect with what's going on around the world and what is in the minds of our South African government. Huh? And it shouldn't be the case, because they just, at this climate change conference, they pledged $1.34 billion or billion rand to help South Africa generate alternative energy, green energy. So it should be on the mind, because a week ago that was announced. So there just seems to be a bit of a disconnect. I mean, does Deputy President David Mabuza, does he talk to the Minister of Minerals and Energy, Gwede Mantashe? I suppose, look, it's difficult. I mean, David Mabuza, he calls, Or who calls who? I mean, Gwede Mantashe calls David Mabuse. I mean, he's got his mouth full of marbles. But David Mabuse understands him because they're comrades in the struggle. They know each other. Ah, thank you. Yes. I support Minister Mantashe. Yes, thank you. I support 3 or 4 new power stations. Power stations or power stations? Coal. Yes, it probably will be coal. It's like Andre de Ruyter. What does he say? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I missed something. Has Andre de Ruyter or Eskom spoken about other alternatives to coal? Maybe they have. Ooh, I don't know. Quite a bit of movement in broadcasting. I saw one story at the beginning of the week, and then I was going to ignore it. Yeah, it's one story. Talk show host at KUWTK, apparently she was fired. And then Robert Marawa. So you remember Robert Marawa? His contract wasn't renewed at the SABC, and now I just saw. So everyone's thinking, what's he going to do? What's Robert going to do? What's Robert going to do? Is he going to join Gareth Cliff? Is he going to join DJ Fresh? Is he going to do his own radio station with DJ Spoo? Things always come out of left field. I mean, I never heard of these people. Robert Marawa has partnered with Arena Holdings. He's going to broadcast his sports show. It's going to be called Marawa Sports Worldwide on Sowetan Live's website, Vuma FM in KwaZulu-Natal, and Rise FM in Mpumalanga. It's going to be a 90-minute show, Monday to Friday. Oh no, it's only what? Oh no, it goes live. It starts on Monday, but it's a Monday to Friday show between 5:30 and 7 p.m. But where is it going to be brought? It's going to be done under a bridge in Katlehong, east of Johannesburg. Now, this is what Robert Marawa can do. He really wants to. I mean, that is surprising enough as it is. He's doing a show with these Rise FM and Vuma FM. Look, it's a huge, amazing boost for these community radio stations, which already, I'm sure, have a very healthy listenership. But getting somebody like Robert Marawa, imagine your first guest on Monday, Rassie Erasmus. Rassie Erasmus just got banned. He can't take part in any rugby administration, coaching. He can't attend. He can't be seen near any rugby team, Springboks, whatever. It said for 2 months. Now, maybe I'm not concentrating. Maybe I'm a bit slow. But then it gave a date. He can only get back into it September next year. But 2 months is in January. I don't understand that. And then there were very strange articles, mainly overseas articles, emanated from England and maybe New Zealand, saying that Rassie Erasmus's career is in tatters. It's not career, reputation is in tatters. Nonsense. Most people think Rassie Erasmus is wonderful, except World Rugby. It's a real, in this day and age, it looks really bad, where simple freedom of speech and transparency is being put under, restrictions. This putting the game into disrepute and this and that, it's so old, it's so verkrampt. Verkrampt is the word. It's way too conservative. World Rugby really needs to get their act together. They're living in the dark ages. Worst case scenario, Rassie Erasmus could have been like, maybe reprimanded. Hey, please, don't do that kind of thing. Rather come talk to us. They're missing. you know, where the biggest disappointment is that World Rugby is missing the point. Why don't they rather look at Rassie Erasmus's criticisms in his video and maybe say, hey, maybe he's got a point. Maybe we must improve the quality of refereeing. Maybe when a referee makes really bad decisions, there should be some kind of system where we correct those decisions. There's got to be some kind of a system. Is there a system in place where Rassie Erasmus, instead of posting that video, is there an official channel where he could have approached World Rugby and said, listen, yeah, some of those decisions in those British Lions matches didn't make any sense. So Rassie Erasmus posted the 62-minute long video analysing and criticising the referee, Stuart Berry of Australia. And anyway, putting the game in, he's been banned. He's going to appeal it. Don't know. There just seems to be some kind of, there doesn't seem to be a consistency. We had that terrible decision with the Bafana game against Ghana, where there was a penalty and it cost Bafana the match, and there was clearly no contact between the Bafana player and the Ghanaian player, and the Ghanaian player obviously dived. But there, SAFA went officially to FIFA and did some kind of a protest. There's match fixing, there's something gone awry. Anyway. Look, it doesn't make. I just wish rugby would come into, join us into 2021 and join us going into 2022, and not be so basically verkrampt and narrow-minded, having all these strict, these weird, archaic ways of thinking. That's the way I see it. Anyway, look, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Cliche, I know. Got to try not to do cliches. So speaking of which, I got very sad last night, and then I got more sad this morning. I carried on. Somebody put a tweet. Mention your worst racist experience. And then I started looking at the replies. And I knew there would be lots of replies, but nothing really prepared me for it. Look, I'm not totally naive. I mean, I know people have terrible experiences. So it didn't totally surprise me, but I just read tweet after tweet after tweet. I sat on my phone for like 20 minutes last night. Sat on my phone again for another 20 minutes this morning, just reading the responses of people in South Africa, their racist experiences. And what makes it worse is that all these experiences, most of the experiences are recent. 2012, 2014, this year, 2021, all in 2015, 2016. Yes, there were some old ones from 1981, etc. 2002, 2004, really horrible experiences. And it just broke my heart. Look, I don't know how you'll find. I mean, let me think of an example. The guy's in the office, he's the only black guy in the office. And whenever he would leave the office, maybe to go to a meeting, to go to the toilet, to go fetch lunch, whatever, go get a cup of coffee, all the white staff, all his colleagues would take WhatsApp selfies and photos of each other and then post them on the WhatsApp group and leave him out. Things like that. Lots of examples like that. Horrible. Going on now. It's just hectic. Yeah. And so when somebody with an organization like the Institute for Racial Relations releases a report, does some research saying that racism is not an issue in South Africa, please, man, it's just, whenever you read anything about research, that's not necessarily an accurate an accurate reflection. It's not necessarily an accurate reflection of reality. I mean, research can be flawed. It's so easy for research to be flawed. I mean, how do you get that kind of data about racism? Who is your sample group? Who are you talking to? Who are you doing this research with? You know, what you spoke to 5 people? It's ridiculous. Anyway, we're going into the weekend, and we got the rugby. So Springboks are playing England. Okay, that match I think is at quarter past 3. So whatever you got to do during the day, Rassie will not be there. In fact, World Rugby said if he's seen there, he'll get into more trouble. Oi. I heard a story that there's typhoid in the Garden Route near George, and somebody died of typhoid. My father's mother, back in Latvia, back in 1928 or 29, she died of typhoid. I mean, they probably didn't have running water. Who knows? Sanitation, who knows? I don't think they had plumbing back there. Well, Garden Route also. There is a vaccine for typhoid, just by the way. Lastly, I'll leave you on this one. Are we going to hear the verdict today or tomorrow on the Karl Rittenhouse story? Karl Rittenhouse took these AR-15 into Kenosha, killed 2 people and injured a third. February 2020, somewhere around there, or March. Now the jury is now in their 3rd day of deliberation. This boy traveled 1.5 hours with his AR-15 to go towards this area of Kenosha with his AR-15. They're deliberating for 3 days. I suppose maybe they're deciding between murder and manslaughter, maybe. So maybe he'll be acquitted of certain things, but I'm sure he's got to be. I mean, he will be convicted of something, surely. We'll wait and see. Who knows? Who knows? And there's the other story with the jogger, Aubrey, that young black man. He was going for his run, and these 3 white men chased after him and killed him. And I saw the one defendant. He was on the witness stand, trying to justify killing this jogger, acknowledging the jogger had no weapon. There was no aggression from the jogger. I don't know what's going to happen there. What struck me is when they were first arrested, the father and the son, when they were first arrested, they looked like a little bit disheveled. They looked like, like really real redneck, like, low class, racist, horrible, unkept. You could actually, you could smell them, like a mixture of sweat and alcohol and tobacco and grits. There, the youngster is in court, cleanly shaved. He's had a haircut. He's in a suit. Whew, the difference. The difference. I was told that Wednesday's show was depressing. Was this show? I hope this wasn't depressing. Well, if it was depressing, tell me. I'll try not to be so depressing.